United States, coming from a small town in Germany. And the first thing you see is a naked cowgirl with a guitar as a bra in the middle of Times Square. There is truly no better way of saying welcome to America. The land of the free. But my foreign exchange program thought I needed a real taste of the cowgirl life, so they strapped me on top of the news horse and sent me off on a journey to the beautiful Midwest. I ended up in this teeny tiny small town in the middle of Nebraska, where when I Googled it with my parents for the very first time, the only thing that came up was the local gas station, and we seriously thought I was going to end up learning how to do algebra in the back of the stool. Now, the main idea of doing an exchange here is, well, culture exchange and appreciation on both ends, right? So I'm here today to show you, or more raise an eyebrow, at the differences between both of these countries I love so deeply. To do this, we will stick to the status quo as we look at how high school is nothing like the movies. Next, we will pick our way through American manners and German customs. And lastly, we will hop in the drive-thru to look at the differences in our food. When I first got on the plane right here, I watched High School Musical, obviously, to prepare myself for the first day of high school in America. And to get these vocal cords warmed up. I was so ready for the kids in my history class to break out in a version of "We're all in this together." Excuse me. American high school, an experience so many teenagers from around the world want to experience. And I was one of them. That was until I realized this is anything but High School Musical. I was so ready to find the Ryan to my Sharpay, the Chad to my Troy, the Taylor to my Gabrielle. All I really wanted was a whole group of American friends I could live out my dance break dreams with. And I wasn't too far off. I do have friends, but none of them dance for some reason, and the one I spent most of my time with is this girl named Alexis, who isn't even American. And let's be honest, you guys do some really weird stuff here. Coming from a country where patriotism is a very tricky topic, I am more than qualified to point out how very suspicious it is that kids start their morning here by chanting in unison. And it only gets weirder from here. Now, German schools, and especially German students, are far from perfect. I could stand here all day and tell you about the quite inappropriate things I've seen, but American high schools are on a whole different level. For example, when I first got into my weights class, I thought, in what wet pet story did I end up? Because it turns out, I would be the only girl in there! And everybody knows how teenage boys can be, well, quite interesting to observe. Thinking they can fit themselves into odd places like lockers or stuffing their friends into ties for fun with the teacher present. I've truly seen it all. Let me tell you one thing, America. The movies are not very accurate. Now, one of my favorite things to do after coming home from a long day of school is releasing my feet from their shoe prison. That is only at the door, of course. In Germany, we love to practice keeping our outsides out, not inviting them in on the bottom of our shoes. If my mother was here, she would be horrified to know that people wear the same shoes they've been dragging through some stinky landmines all day onto their couches at night. Disgusting, right? Now, I really hope you guys don't think this means I don't love you, Americans. Because a lot of people have told me that I sound pretty aggressive when I talk, no matter what I say, in my native language at least, which I really don't understand because ich bin meiner Gastfamilie, mein Freund und mein liebes Haus so dankbar, ich werde diese Erfahrung nimmer wertschätzen. Then they have the audacity to call me rude because of the way I talk. The next thing you know, they're the ones leaning to the side in class, calling it cutting the cheese. At first, I was confused why you would have cheese out in biology in the first place, until I realized it's the kind of cheese no one should ever witness. Especially not with their noses. Ugh. Now, speaking of cheese, don't get me started on these interesting food combinations here in America. Like a Watergate salad, more like a fruit crime salad if you ask me. I mean, pistachio pudding and pineapple, seriously? No taste buds can be that destroyed to enjoy it. Or some mystical powder that turns into surely not edible mashed potatoes. Or, to wrap up that classic Midwestern holiday, don't have almost 950 substances in our food that are banned in other countries because of so-called health issues. Like, I heard you guys put something called WD-40 in your food. I mean, come on, guys, it already sounds like cancer in a can. It wasn't bad for you. It's probably just as toxic for you. Anyway, one thing you guys really are good at is your fast food. Back at home, I would dream about hot stuff. But now, all I can dream about is hot and spicy chicken tenders. I wish we had those. But I can't finish without addressing what I miss most about home. Probably more than my family, and that, but please don't tell them that. And that has to be the bread. And no, those sponges in the aisle of your supermarket don't count as bread. Did you know that Germany has almost 300 different types of bread? While the US has 300 different flavors of Oreos. I can tell that everybody has their priorities set straight. And at last, let me introduce you to the most magical place I visited so far. The only place in the world where you can buy cereal bags as long as your torso and S'mores flavored ramen in the same aisle. But that's not even the craziest thing I've seen there. You are able to buy guns in a supermarket! The most dangerous thing I can buy in a German supermarket happens to be extra hot chili powder. That says a lot. Now, at home, I would probably crack open a Feierabend beer as the speech comes to an end, but I cannot do that here. So, it's safe to say that living in another country is very, very interesting. From me getting my High School Musical dreams crushed, to picking up habits my mom will most likely start throwing hands with me, to me coming home with either diabetes or food poisoning, or both. But besides all that, and despite the fact that Germany and the US somehow always end up on opposite sides of, well, everything, please open a history book if you don't know what I'm talking about. But besides all that, both of these countries have found such a special place in my heart. And one more thing, vielen Dank fürs Zuhören.